Welcome to the first episode of the Druid Caster Healer Quasi-Tank True First Life series, also known as the Ginger Spice Druid build. So here's my toon, Northwynd Gale, and my little wolf, Mirage. So, I'm on a different server, and I'm not going to reveal what server I'm on yet. And so, just like I did 2 years ago with the Favorite Soul Evoker True First Life project, I'm over here, different server, where I have no friends. I'm all alone. I've got no guild. I've got no ship buffs. I've got no plat. I've got no gear. I've got nothing. And so that's the fun of it, and that's the challenge of it. And I'm really looking forward to this go around compared to the last time I did a True First Life series with the Favorite Soul Evoker. That was the wrong class and build to try to do as a True First Life. There were some very serious challenges associated with that. I won't go into that, but for those of you who follow my videos, it was pretty painful for me, especially early on. I expect this series to be a lot easier. One, because this is, this is my build. This is my my baby, the build that I love, and the build that I love playing. And so I'm going to be talking all along the way in each episode, like I do in my series. I'm going to be going over the feats that I've chosen, where I'm allocating my action points, where the skills are, spells I'm taking. I'm going to be going over everything in every episode. And, I'm also looking forward to being able to point to this series for others that are using my build that are new to the game, so they can see what I'm doing as I've pointed viewers and people using my build to, I have the beginner's guide to the build, and I have the TR guide to the build. But I'm really happy to be adding this True First Life series of the build to my video series and to the resources to support the build. So, one of the constraints of this project is I'm not going to join a guild throughout the entire series. So I won't have ship buffs the entire series. And I haven't been in that position since, 2 years ago, and before that it was like since I was a noob. Playing without ship buffs is tough. Playing without all your gear and all your plat and everything. I'm running around real slow. I got no quiver. It's just, this is a brand new toon. Just like before, I'm not going to be using any of the stuff that I get whenever I make a new toon. So all the stuff that I paid for, that I purchased with, the 2 expansions, I'm not going to touch that stuff at all. So there are things in there like skill tomes and XP tomes. Not going to use it. I will be using like the XP stones that I get from the daily rolls and the gold rolls. In fact, I've already consumed a couple XP stones, and here I am at level 2, even though I have a 2,000 point XP stone right away. I've only done a couple quests, Hayden's Rest and Storehouse Secret, on Elite. So this is the beginning of it. You can see I've got nothing. I've got my starter leather. I've got the Amulet of Inner Focus, and I've got my rugged belt. I had to get the heavy wooden shield, though, from Dax Boone there, the vendor in Korthos, to replace the starter small wooden shield. And then I've got my Ember Sickle, and that's all I got. A couple potions I've found, and that's it. 802 platinum, and 8 starter potions of Heal Light Wounds. So where are we at? What I'm going to do is follow my build post exactly how I have it laid out. And so that means I've taken the Augment Summoning feat, which is really awesome for the wolf at low levels is so awesome. And that gives him +4 to all his ability scores, makes him more survivable, makes him tougher, makes him do more damage, so really like that. And I'll be swapping that out later, just like I indicate on my build post. And then I've also taken Maximize Spell. Although I'm not even doing any spell casting yet, but I will be, you know, in the next level or two, and I wanted to have that ready to go. On the stat side, just like I've indicated, I maxed out my wisdom, but I only started with a 16 con as a first life toon. I don't have as many build points, and so that's the way I decided to start. On the spell side, looks like I need to add another spell to the list. I'll do that later. So I've taken Longstrider because that, you know, helps with run speed. I hate running around really slow. Makes you run a little faster. And then I've got Lesser Vigor. So I probably will pick up like either Produce Flame, maybe Ram's Might, or Jump as my next one. But no offensive spells. So this is one of the things that I want to mention. You know, I was just talking to somebody who's following my build just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they were saying, you know, they were doing my build, they were level 5, and they were pretty bored at first. But once they got to about level 5, they started having more fun with it because they were getting like Call Lightning, and they were able to like one-shot mobs. Here's the thing. Druid casters start out really slowly. You don't really have any casting power to start with. And so this is one of the reasons, like when Druids first came out several years ago, you know, people gave up on them really quick. They played them for a few levels and they just said, ah, this sucks. You know, my wizard's better, my sorcerer is better. You know, why do I want to play this? They start out slow. You know, like I said, once you get to about level 5, once you get Call Lightning, then you can start having some real fun with your spells. So Lesser Vigor is important because, well, it's great to have some healing, you know, beyond just your potions of Cure Light Wounds, but to keep your wolf up too. You can't use potions on your wolf, but you can use Lesser Vigor. Now I have Maximize turned off for Lesser Vigor, and if you're not familiar, you can right-click any spell that you have on your hotbar, and you can toggle your meta magics on or off. I have Lesser Vigor, have it turned off for Lesser Vigor because it's just too expensive to cast it with Maximize, and I'm really just using that for sort of maintenance healing, super low cost maintenance healing. This is only costing me 6 spell points to cast. So as long as I'm not letting my damage get away, then I can keep myself up and my wolf up with that. And if I need a bigger hit, then I'll drink a potion of, you know, Cure Light Wounds, and I'll get better potions, you know, later on as soon as I can. What else? So talked about feats. Let's talk about enhancements. So I'm doing something like I mentioned on my build post. I said in my build post I say start with the Beguile and Wax and Wane lines and work those up. But right now, you know, that doesn't really do anything for me. Beguile, I mean, it's actually kind of cool because it affects your melee attacks as well as your spells, so it slows a mob down. But that's not really doing a whole lot. So I thought I would go with Aggravate. And every point I spend in Nature's Warrior gives me 1 hit point per action point spent in this tree. So I'm getting 4 extra hit points right now because I've spent my action points here. But what Aggravate does is every time I use Intimidate, and this is a tank, so I have points in Intimidate, every time I use that, I get 6 DR for the duration of Intimidate. So if I'm running into a group of mob, I throw Intimidate, and I get 6 DR, which is huge at this level. I mean, that's going to really prevent a lot of damage. And Intimidate is also good to use because you don't want mobs aggroed on your wolf. Which, that'll go ahead and bring me to my next point. But point is here that, you know, early on, for those first few levels, if you want to spend points in Nature's Warrior instead, and have some fun with that stuff, go for it. And then at about level 3 or so, you want to start respeccing to the Season's Herald and, you know, get your Produce Flame. So that's what I'm really going to wait for is until I can get the Produce Flame. That'll take 8 action points to get that up all the way. So on the wolf side, which I have no gear for yet, I've taken Cunning Wolf because that reduces threat generated by my wolf as opposed to Alpha Wolf. You don't want to take Alpha Wolf because you don't want your wolf taking getting extra aggro. When your wolf dies, you take a big penalty to you lose hit points and you lose spell points, and you just can't afford that. You know, it would be neat if you can send your wolf out there to tank stuff, but it's just not very realistic in DDO. I suppose, you know, if you really built for that, maybe you could do it, but at least in heroics, but not on this true first life toon for sure. So stay away from the things like Alpha Wolf that draw extra aggro to your wolf. And I've taken Wolf Instincts. That'll give him saves versus higher saves versus traps. And then Striding, he'll run around faster. And so the other thing you want to avoid early on is Growl, is another early enhancement that you can take for your wolf, but that's another thing that will just bring more aggro to your wolf. And again, you want to avoid that. So I'm running into mobs. I throw Intimidate. I get DR. It pulls the aggro off my wolf. And wolf is really valuable, doing a lot of damage right now, really helping me. And I also have, you know, Summon Nature's Ally 1, where I'm using the wolf. You can only summon a wolf or a rat. The wolf, I think, is the better option. The wolf can trip. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. On the skill side, again, following the build, I have a couple ranks in balance. I have concentration maxed. Couple points in heal. I have Intimidate maxed. Spellcraft maxed, and a point in tumble, and use magic device. Alright, so let's do Cannith Crystal. Alright, this is a tough quest. In fact, I've already failed it once. My strategy for this quest is going to be to have a bunch of bodies out so that the cultists will aggro on the other bodies instead of the crystal. What makes this a tough quest is that when the cultists spawn, they can run right after the crystal, and 2 or 3 swings, the crystal breaks, and you fail. And that's what happened. Even though I'm going to have 4 bodies out, they just boom right to the crystal, and just within seconds is over, and it just totally sucks, and just not really a whole lot you can do. So I'm going to have a lot of bodies out, and that's going to be my strategy. So I'm going to pull out the hireling, and I'm going to pull out, I'm going to summon a wolf, summon Nature's Ally Wolf. And so 4 bodies, more things for the mobs to aggro on instead of aggroing on the crystal. So hopefully we'll get it this time. One of my favorite strategies when I'm doing an arcane is to cast Charm Person. In fact, you can actually get wands of Charm Person from the marketplace. And then again, that's just, you know, it's more bodies for, set the wolf on aggressive, more bodies for the cultist to aggro on instead of the crystal. Now I'm just going to hang right here in front of the crystal and guard it. And if anything comes near it, I'm going to try to intimidate, but, you know, I tried that last time, and they still got it. You know, it can be over that quickly. And this can be a really frustrating quest because of how quickly you can fail it. So I'm going to be the last line of defense right here and let everybody else do the fighting. Suspenseful, isn't it? I actually made this toon months ago. I was going to make this series. I was going to start in the spring, but then, you know, as the summer got closer, I started getting really busy, and so I just decided to set it down for a while, and I'm really happy to finally get to this series. I was really looking forward to it all summer. When this strategy works, it works well. Or when it works right. It's working exactly as intended right now. Did my wolf die? Oh, it did. I gotta summon another one. What's crazy is like just the 3 or 4 seconds that it takes for me to go through the casting animation for the wolf. Like, you know, a mob could have run right by me and went for the crystal. Hey, that's it and that's all. Worked like a charm. So, last time I had two cultists. It just ran right by the group, right at the crystal, and they broke the crystal right away. But this time, piece of cake. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you have any questions about my build, you can respond on my build post in the Druid forum. And if you're on, well, yeah, if you're on Sarlona, you're welcome to send me a tell.